Oh, wait.
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, hi, this is Dr. John Bennett from Miami. We have another one, the continuing series of Hangouts for Boston Medical TV. Tonight, we have the honor of having Carlo Oller from Cartersville Hospital in Cartersville, Georgia. And we're joined by a couple of other distinguished guests.
What's up?
And to start things off, I'll just go around the panel and you can introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself and why you want to see Carlo tonight.
I can hear them through the phone line, but I can't hear them on the...
Yeah, see, this is we'll get better in production. Tom, can Tom hear me? You can't. Jim, I think you need to tell Tom to wait a minute to talk. Okay, let's just go around. Okay, we'll start with you, Jim.
I'm Jim Easter. I'm a planner and a hospital architect based in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm very pleased to be a part of this discussion group. Our expertise has been focused on studying emergency departments and throughput and process improvement for the last 18 months, and I have 35 years of healthcare experience, and I've probably worked on 500 EDs around the country, so I'm really looking forward to this conversation tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, great. It's good to see Jim because he's the first time he's done a hangout, I think. Okay, Dave.
First time.
Okay, Dave.
Hey, I'm David Spiro. I'm the Chief Medical Officer.
I can hear them through your phone, but they're not coming through my computer.
As you can see, we need to improve our producing ability.
It's all good. I'm David Spiro, and I'm the Chief Medical Officer of RealDX. We're a real patient.
I can only hear it through in the background through your phone. I can't.
Okay, that's fine. My job as a head producer,
okay.
I've got.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Could you tell Jim, Tom to? Okay, there we go. Okay, Dave, I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. I'm David Spiro. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of RealDX. We're a real patient video platform that enables anyone, whether they're a patient or provider, to upload video content in a HIPAA-compliant way to securely create, store, and share video for a number of different healthcare applications. So.
Okay, well, welcome, David. Alex?
Hey, my name is Alejandro Arenas. I am a doctor from Mexico, aspiring to get into residency in the United States. I am very interested in medical technology, experimental medicine, patient medicine, and it's an honor to be here with you and listening to you, Carlo.
Welcome, Alexandro from LA. And Tom, I guess I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I guess we'll start. Carlo, it's all yours.
All right. Well, like you said, my name is Carlo Oller. I'm an emergency medicine physician. Born and raised in Puerto Rico, came to the United States to do my residency, and then stayed here. I've been working in the ERs about 10 years, and I've been directing emergency departments for the last 5. I currently run an emergency department in Cartersville that sees about 52,000 patients, and I'm all dressed up because I was all day in the ER, kind of actually improving our flow process and changing how we flow patients through the ER, improving that kind of thing. And I'm here to share an idea, a concept that it didn't come to me by itself. I was listening to a CME conference on a physician who asked the question, how long does it take you to get informed consent for a lumbar puncture? And you know, everybody's like, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. He said, well, it takes me 5 minutes and 22 seconds. And the reason it could be that specific is because he used a VHS and a TV and a VCR, and he would walk it into the patient's room and play informed consent video for lumbar puncture. And I thought, boy, that's a great idea. I mean, why stop there? You could have it for central lines. You could have it for blood transfusion, for any major procedure that takes time to do. And there's high variability between providers between the information that should be said and the information that's actually said. Comprehension of the patients never corroborated or checked. They just sign the thing and they get the procedure done. So I thought to myself, well, what if we created a library of 10 videos that would help us get informed consent on a systematic, consistent basis? Patients can watch it, and then I could come behind them and just ask them if they had any questions. So I created my first set of 3 or 4 videos, central line, lumbar puncture, and blood transfusion. and loaded them in the intranet of the hospital so I could play them from the room's computer. But that created a whole bunch of different problems because the streaming of video was taking too much. We didn't have speakers on every computer. Right about that time was when the iPods started coming out as iTouch, and I'm thinking, boy, if we had a bunch of those in the ER, we could play it at the bedside. So that's where the idea came from. I heard that, of course, bigger companies like Cranes, Discharge Software, they were doing some patient education videos, but they were mostly based out of the OR, knee replacements, heart replacement.
Audio.
So my goal was to build a database of patient education videos for my emergency room patients, things that are very common, but that the speech is always the same: kidney stone, gallbladder disease, peptic ulcer, gastritis. So I started loading up these videos, 3, 4, 5-minute educational videos on YouTube, because it's free. I could load them up, and I could build my database of video to eventually build what I'm going to talk about on my website. But then the videos started to get views and started generating interest and subscribers and views, so I started loading other things, and I started branching out a little bit. So I started my YouTube about 3 years ago with just patient education videos, and then I started posting a couple cases, a couple procedures, and those were the ones that went viral. With some procedures, I'm close to 2 million views now. So I built the channel to be 23 million views, 50,000 plus subscribers, and a lot of people who follow me because I do a lot of education of cases and EKGs and x-rays and interesting stuff in addition to the patient education. So if I could screen share, I'm going to try to share with you. Let me see how I do that. Start screen share, and is the YouTube channel. So if you search under the EDExitVideo, you'll see up here that I have 1,083 videos, that there's anything from some informational stuff about the enterovirus, about Ebola, about what to do if your kid swallowed a battery, to I did actually a Google Hangout today with the University of Central Florida. I recorded that. I do actual procedures where I drain a felon and the patient had osteomyelitis, so I discuss stuff like that. I answered questions of my viewers like, let me see if I can make that bigger. You know, the common thing we tell patients not to eat popcorn and diverticulitis, and kind of demyth that and show the real literature behind that. Post-exposure prophylaxis for rabies. And anyway, I do a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm having fun doing that. But then when I moved to the real reason I started doing this, EDExitVideo.com, this is an entirely free website. It's meant for patient education, so I basically cashed in on my 401k a little bit and got some money out to produce this website. Basically a YouTube search engine for a database of videos, so that if I send a patient here and they have a new diagnosis of kidney stone, they can type kidney stone, do a search, and then the videos that correspond to kidney stone will come up, and they can watch those. Some are made by me, like I show here. Some are made by urologists. Some have to do with the diet related to that. You could search by medication, procedures, by symptom, diagnosis, and tests. And I do have a language filter, because my goal is eventually, like when you, somewhere in here there should be a little flag to change it to Spanish or whatnot. My goal eventually is to have every single educational video in Spanish, and if I ever get the funding or the interest in people that can help out, then eventually doubling to, you know, any language, Chinese, German, whatever, so that any patient across the world is looking for information about their disease specific to emergency department, like you're being discharged with this diagnosis. What are the things you need to know? When do you need to come back to the ER? What are the potential complications you should be aware of? And that's the purpose of EDExitVideo. For the medical providers, if they do a login, again, entirely free, they create a username, password, it actually allows them to send the video link to the patient. So if they want to, I'm going to put my in and log in. And it's pre-formatted, so already includes a standard text saying, hey, I'm Dr. Carlo, I saw you in the emergency department, I wanted to follow up with you. You can type in the name of anybody else. Predetermined subject, here's some follow-up. An intro video is pre-formatted. You decide what you want to put there. It could be a promotion to your clinic, office, a website, or your own hospital. And since this patient has a kidney stone, I'm going to do a search for kidney stone. And then what you do is you attach that video. Well, I want him to watch lithotripsy, and I want him to watch this one. And I attach the video link, and then I send the email. And that's it. They'll get an email with the 2 video links you put in, a little nice text, and it looks really nice. It's potentially a risk management tool because it has all the, I should probably stop screen sharing now. There we go. So it's a risk management tool because it tells them the pitfalls, when to come back to the ER. Most of these videos start, you know, if you have these symptoms or these problems, you should stop the video and go back to the ER. And then it goes to explain the diagnosis, treatment, and things like that. The other cool thing is on the website we couldn't do it, but on the app version of the website, which is only for iPads, it's got the same name, EDExitVideo. The doctor can attach a voice clip to that email going out. So not only they get a video links as a video prescription or video email, whatever, but they also get a little voice message from the physician saying, hey, I'm glad to see you. But remember, we talked about following up with your doctor within 2 days, regards to your wife or whatever. So it's a very personal touch, and I think that's where I hope to push myself out of the other people that are trying to do similar things, because it's so personal. You can do this in less than 20 seconds, create an email with a prescription, and it's free of charge, as it is now. So that's it in a nutshell. That's the EDExitVideo, which is a patient education platform, and then the EDExitVideo on YouTube, which is just everything else. Anything I can think of, making a video, making something fun, talking about new things or an interesting case I've seen, and so on.
Well, great, Carlo. I'm sure Dave will have a lot of, you guys are in the same field, because Dave does videos in ERs, but of course, that's a weak point in the medical healthcare system, as you know, is follow-up instructions. They're not distinct. They're not concise. They're not probably very understandable, because obviously in the ER you're in a hurry and the patient's hurry to go, and they may get a slip of paper, but this seems to be a lot better. But I'll let Dave ask some questions, because I'm sure he has a lot to ask you, and then I'll let the other gentleman ask. Dave, you want to ask Carlo some questions?
Well, first of all, I think Carlo should be congratulated. I applaud his work. I think he's a pioneer in what he is doing and champion. I think that it takes a bold vision to do something different and change the way, see an opportunity to change the way things are done in terms of the status quo. And I think Carlo has recognized a significant problem in healthcare, that patients, when they get discharged from healthcare facilities, whether it's post-operative care or emergency care, patients don't get discharged. They get usually discharged with a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And if they're post-operative, they get discharged with a piece of paper and usually a medication called Versed, which makes them amnestic to any instructions that they received during the time when a doctor or nurse was giving them instructions in person. And with current technology, the way it exists, we can do better. There's something else that's of interest in regard to Carlo's pioneering work, is that hospitals more and more are going to be reimbursed for patients not coming back to their facility, or they'll be penalized when patients do come back to their facility within 30 days for complications and readmissions. And we know that looks like we have a guest speaker with Carlo. We have a guest speaker?
Oh yes, a co-host, a co-guest.
Yeah. This This is the voice behind all my interests. He's the one that goes EDExitVideo.com.
If that's the producer, we need his help.
Yeah.
So what I was just to finish up, you know, hospitals will be penalized for reimbursements, and it's known that most patients don't pay attention to written discharge instructions, and it's known that the use of video can enhance communication between doctors and patients. And so I think Carlo is definitely onto a technique and a technology that quite honestly needs to be used, and that technique and technology involves doctors and patients engaging with each other, and the use of video in a HIPAA compliant and secure way is a way for patients to better understand what's happening once they're discharged from the medical system. So I don't really have any questions other than I think Carlos should be congratulated for his work. I think it's fantastic that it's free, and I hope to you know, work with Carlo in some way, maybe in the future, to use our platform to potentially host this kind of work. So I see many synergies.
Carlo, I have one question. Do you plan to do it with other specialties? It seems like Dave said, lots of parts of medicine have problems with follow-up instructions, not just ER.
Yeah. Well, of course, the ER includes so many diagnoses that include different specialties. You've got GYN, you've got pediatrics, you've got orthopedics. But when it goes down to the very specific, like, could I talk about this surgery for a trimalleolar fracture, then no. I mean, that's not where I'm going to go. Now, eventually, like, I hope, as people find my site or the app, which allows the user, the provider who puts the app on, to upload their own content.
Oh, okay.
For free. I mean, so the app, the pro version you pay, I think is $7. It's nothing major, but it allows you to upload your own content. So if this orthopedic doctor wants to make a 2-minute video and upload it, then he can forward to his patients when he sees them. All of a sudden, that video becomes available to everybody else using the platform. So it's a way to acquire those patient education videos from other specialties. So I've had a lot of requests for videos about myotonia, and honestly, I have to look it up. I don't do myotonia in the ER. I don't do, you know, specific kind of seizures. So eventually, yes, you would build specific discharge videos for other specialties as the need arises. But the goal would be, then you get doubling arms. Sorry, we had a major accident.
Oh my God.
All right. Because you're gonna get hurt. Just get out. I'll pick it up later. I'll pick it up later.
Yeah. Carlo, that's okay. These things happen. Any feedback from the patients so far? Do you have a lot of? They like it or?
Yeah, you know, in the busy ER, it's hard to get this done and get them sent out. So I select them. I get 1 or 2 a day, and of the feedback, it's awesome. What I've done is in the ER, I actually have an iPad that's got a base on it, so I take it to the bedside and play the video for them. Whenever I do that, it's a big wow factor. So I've not used the email portion of this platform as much as playing it at the bedside. Eventually, my goal is to make an experiment and publish data of patients who got the videos and patients who did not get the video in terms of comprehension of their instructions, and then maybe even patient satisfaction results. I know every hospital gets excited about anything that could improve their scores in patient perception, patient experience. So if we could show that a simple email that takes 20 seconds to send out improves patient satisfaction and perhaps improves risk management as well as their comprehension of their diagnosis, then that's the golden ticket out. You know, that's something that's going to be the new standard for discharge instructions, not just paper.
Well, you know, one quick story, and I'm sure Dave will agree. I had a friend that went to an ER. He called me, and he had a testicular mass. And on the phone, I said, okay, you got your iPhone? Yeah. Okay, we'll go to this address, look up testicular mass, look up ultrasound, and it was he couldn't believe it. He says, "Wow, well, I haven't seen the doctor yet. I already know what's going on." And he was actually prepared for the doctor when he came in and started discussing doing a CT I mean, it's really really leverages patient education.
Absolutely.
Okay, any questions, Alex or Jim or Tom?
Yeah, John, I have audio now. It's very faint.
Oh, okay. Hi, Tom.
Hi. Sorry I'm late in coming on board here.
That's okay. Do you have any questions, Tom or Jim or Dave or Alex?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I want to compliment you, Carlos, on this initiative. This is pretty phenomenal. Could you describe in layperson terms how you avoid the HIPAA compliance issues with your patients on these exit video discussions?
Yeah, I mean, that's something everybody's asked me. The videos are pretty generalized. I mean, they're the only thing that links to the patient is the fact that they gave me the email. So the fact that they were giving me the email, I said, I'm going to be sending you video education to this email, and they agree, then I'm sure potentially somebody can find fault with that, but there's no patient-specific data like labs or x-rays or things like that. So if I wanted to do it right, Crane's Solutions Discharge Software, they're coming out with a very similar thing, and they actually give a password out. So when the doctor creates this email prescription, it gives a password, not the actual link, and then they can securely access that video. But my video doesn't say, Mr. John, you have an STD. It just says, here's some education of your arthritis or appendix or gallbladder disease. It's pretty vague, so I don't think there's a HIPAA, especially because when they provide me the email, I'm asking permission to send this video education.
Right, that's very good. How have your peers received this within your practice there at the hospital?
Again, I have to prove that this works before it's used across the board. A lot of them get excited, they think it's a great idea, but when it goes to implementation, actually using it, they don't. Yours are busy, as you know, and they don't have time to pull the thing in. So it's a matter of those doctors that want to go that extra step and provide that extra wow factor. Very few of them actually do it. So the way I think this would work best is if it was an automated form where the computer would feed in the emails and their discharge diagnosis would generate the email on its own, and then it would get more compliance, more utilization, and patient results. Or some places where they have scribes or other kind of tech, or somebody who instead they're doing discharge phone calls or whatever, they could do discharge emails and create them after the fact. But I think if you leave it up to the physician, we're being pushed so many different ways with EMRs and core measures and remember so many things that they really don't want to take the time to do even 30 seconds to create this video. But I think with automation, feeding email or phone number or address, or better yet, to create an all-in-one discharge software like one of those bigger companies, who when you put the information in also creates the link to the video so they can view it. That would be the ultimate next step. But to develop something like that that has a HL connection to the hospital EMR, it's costly to do something like that. So far it's like referring them to these videos out of a public website. So that's what I've done so far.
Carlo, I would like to ask if you would be willing to host me and Tom Testerman to visit with you at Cartersville. Tom, with an HCA hospital down there, very near the Wellstar Keystone folks, and we could come down from Nashville and visit with you, and maybe you could show us how it works, and we could chat a little bit about your emergency services at the hospital.
How's that sound, Carlo?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Spread the good word. You know,
And I think the reason this is important is because Tom and I can then connect you with Dr. Warden and Dr. Weary, who are two of our emergency trauma partners. Dr. Weary's in Pennsylvania, and Dr. Warden is up in New Jersey. They would then be, I think, very eager to communicate with you. Possibly we could set up another one of these chats to involve them in the conversation.
Sure, that's the power of Hangouts. That it can cross towers, or what's the phrase, Dave? I'm sure you know that. When you cross parts of medicine. Well, one quick question, Carlo. How many doctors do you have in the ER at Cartersville?
Full-time physicians, we have 11, but we also have a large group of part-timers and PRN people, maybe up to 20 docs.
How do they like it generally?
How many what?
Do they use the EDExitVideo?
No, about maybe 2 or 3 of them use it sporadically.
Okay.
Out of the iPad, but
okay.
A lot of people who actually use it is people on the internet that are subscribe and join in and use it for their patients. Actually, some people have commented they use it from other specialties or even nurses. The patient's asking about information, say, you know what, let me send you this link, and they use it that way. But I actually don't get any data of us how many emails go out of the website. That's why, eventually I want to build the tools up to see who's using it, how they're using it, to get some feedback on that. But right now the website is rudimentary because that's all I can afford right now.
Yeah, analytics. Some people ask me the same thing. When you're a one-man show, you got to do everything, and so you do what you can do.
What is your email address, Carlo?
I'll type it in here.
Okay. We generally give everyone's contact info after the presentation.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give everyone else's email address and contact info.
That's perfect. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you set up your website? You said you did all this yourself?
The idea and the concept I just went to a local company here in Atlanta to build me the website. Actually, initially it was somewhere else. They built me a website. I was very unhappy with that company, so I took whatever they had developed to that point and took it to a second company who was able to turn it into something that was workable and looked nicer, flowed a little bit better. But I still have a bunch of stuff I want to do to it. It's just, I'm stuck in the development of the website and just dedicating to creating the content more.
Well, just from looking at it, Carlos, I don't know a lot of programming, but I can tell the way it's customizable. You had someone from a PHP background, and I don't know, Dave can maybe say something about that, but it's not a strict, simple website. It's very customizable, and that takes some programming knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think that one of the key pieces that are important that Carlo mentioned is an ability to measure how it's being used and get some feedback around who's using it, how they're using it. Because once you put something out on the web like this, which is fantastic as a V1, there are clearly going to be other versions depending on feedback from patients and physicians and how it's being used.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, do you? I'm sorry to divert attention from Carlos for a second, but Dave, do you use analytics for your RealDX.com?
We do. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't got that far yet. Google Analytics?
We use Google Analytics. We use some other software programs that gives us a sense, but our initial application of the Real Patient platform has been medical education. We actually see discharge instructions as a very low-hanging fruit in regard to using our platform for Real Patient Video for multiple specialties. Especially, I'm not a surgeon. I'm an emergency physician like Carlo, but we see post-operative care to be a significant need, and we believe hospitals and hospital systems will pay for systems and abilities for their physicians to create real patient video content that can be delivered either personally with a personal clinical video and or standard stock of videos like Dr. Oller has created for use within their hospital system, within their medical education portal.
Well, yeah, maybe after you could talk to Carlo about the analytic part, which I guess he wants to get up to speed on,
Yeah.
to see who exactly who's visiting and where they're going, how long they're spending on certain pages.
Dr. Oller and I have a date. We already have a date to meet, so we're very excited. Great to meet him here, and we have a date to meet to talk because I think there's a lot to talk about, including my need to bone up on Spanish. So.
Okay, very good. Jim, you have a quick. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, Carlo, you mentioned that you were in some process discussions at your ED this afternoon. Are you changing your process program at the hospital?
Yeah, I started as a medical director here at this facility about 2.5 years ago, and the place was a nightmare, and I knew that, so it could only get better when I accepted the position. You know what these things means. LPMSEs were almost 4%, the time to physician was 67 minutes, admission length of stay was in the 5-hour range. I mean, it was just a nightmare. Since, we've had new doctors come in, new process, new changes, and we're actually now at the top of the division for arrival to grade. We average about 8 minutes. Our left without being seen is down to like 0.4%, which puts us in the top 3 in the division as well. But our length of stay and our AMAs, even though it's improved, is still dangerously high as per HCA standards. They have pretty tight goals. So our AMAs are left, basically not AMAs, but elopements from the ER. We're about 8% last year, and we're averaging 2.5%, but that's 2.5% too high for them, and our length of stay is too high. So what we've done, and we started doing today, is change the flow process to something that even though we said we were doing, we were not, which is direct bedding. So as soon as a patient comes in, they go straight to a bed. They call a team triage, which forces the doctor to get to the room within whatever minutes and start the workup. Before, we had it a fragmented care where I had a mid-level provider at the entry of the door. They would meet him and greet him, put orders in the system, but then a nurse would see him, and then they would move to a room and another nurse would see him, and then the doctor would see them and order some more stuff. So even though we were doing a lot of stuff on the front end, it really didn't change the stay of the patient, because we're doing everything in the front process and not at the end. Right. So this process we started today addresses that issue because it puts more pressure on the docs to be the first contact, so that any time seen from there on is well spent, so their dispo should be a lot shorter. And I don't want to say it was a victorious day too early, but when I left the ER today, our arrival to grade was still under 10 minutes, but most importantly, our length of stay was about 100 minutes shorter than yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see if we can keep it going. I mean, I had some strong doctors today, and of course, you know how we got A doctors and B doctors, and so we'll see how it works when the B team gets a hold of the place.
Well, what we'll do, Tom, make a note, what we'll do when we visit, we'll bring along with you some of the research we've done, and we might add some insight into your process improvements that you might be able to capitalize on.
Sure. Yeah, we're using a lot of the strategies that are being used across, like usage of vertical room, using of phlebotomists in the ER, standardized protocols and things like that. So, I mean, I work through MCare, so they have a lot of leadership and things that are playbook that they tell us that we got to do. But we're on the verge of probably getting close to being the best in the division. A lot of the metrics, not just the ones that we've already attained.
Oh, that's fantastic. We have been meeting with the LifePoint healthcare systems in Nashville, and LifePoint is a part of the TriStar network, which is HCA, and they've been very pleased with some of the work we've been doing, and they've asked us to come back and visit with their emergency research team to share with them some of the step-by-step processes that we've been looking at. So I think that would be very helpful and be good be good sharing, John, between the two programs.
Yes, it would. I think we have some good collaboration in store here. And we'll get better on the production part of it. We have nowhere to go but up. Okay, any more questions, gentlemen? Alex, you're quiet over there.
Yeah, actually I do. First of all, I want to congratulate you, Carlo, for this wonderful work. I know that sometimes it's real difficult to explain procedures to patients or try to get informed consent from them. And the way of showing them a video, for example, if you want to do a lumbar puncture or any other procedure, you just show them the video and explain what's going to go on. And that gives the patient a little bit of more ease and a little bit of more tranquility in order to do the procedure. And I mean, that's very important for on the patient side. And another question is, how difficult is it to develop or make an app in order to be successful?
To develop an app, you just need money.
Okay. It's in iTunes, right? It's in iTunes now?
Yeah. The app, the concept, I developed it. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, but when they come to you, they come back with, it's $20,000. You're like,
whoa.
It's a big hit, and then you're gonna sell it for $1 unless you get so many downloads. It's not easy to break through and make money out of that. So far, everything's been investment and no return, pretty much. YouTube generates a little bit from 1,000 views a day I get, and that's being used to kind of make up for that initial investment and then make some more. But every time you come up with an idea of making the app a little bit better and you email the company to switch this or do that, it's in the $1,000 range every time. So you just need a lot of money and some good ideas. I mean, I have plenty of ideas of things that would help the ER flow management, about texting within the department, having nurses have the same app open so you can communicate within the department, sharing pictures so that it's all HIPAA compliant, like David has said, and so that you can tell the nurse, hey, the potassium in room 5 is low, instead of having to yell or search for the nurse. Especially our department is so big. And some places are doing solutions like that, but it takes a lot of money to develop an app, and if you want it to be HIPAA compliant or secure, or even if you want to sync to the EMR, then you're talking about way more.
One question, it's really not related to what you're talking about, but do you foresee nurses doing this and sending emails to patients, or you think a doctor should do it?
No, I think the nurses could do it too. I mean, anybody. All they have to know is the discharge diagnosis and their email address, and they could send the video in. Well, like I said, you could have a scribe do it, a tech, somebody teach them, and in 1 hour they could send 100 emails with that. Not only that, because the way it's set up, each doctor can record themselves saying, hey, I'm Dr. Carlo, I just saw you in the emergency department, these are the videos. So when the person sending the email links, it was Dr. Gorey, it was Dr. Garrett who saw the patient, then the email gets customized to that doctor, so the first video they watched is the doctor they saw in the ER telling them that these videos were put in together for them. So I think that's the great thing about it, that stresses the importance. They see the doctor they just saw. So my hope is that if I can prove through a research, through an article, through whatever, that patients are happy and they understand better and it's a wow factor for them, then that's when hopefully somebody will take this to the next level by, being investors and putting money in and going out to everywhere.
Well, I see that very doable, Carlos, because you and Dave know that when you work in an ER, the top 20 things that you see probably take about 95% of the patients. Like chest pain, shortness of breath, back pain, that.
Absolutely.
And if you just made those 20 top things you see in the ER, you probably take care of a lot of patients that you see. So that a scribe could do that.
Yeah.
Just send your personal video to that particular diagnosis.
Yeah, I actually see a day when most doctors will be able to, or be enabled to, capture a moment with the patient if they wish, and create that moment with video capture, or the patient captures that moment And through that, through a mechanism, whether it's Carlo's site or RealDX or the MedEd portal, that video will be able to be accessed by the patient.
Mm-hmm.
I also see a day when video will be used to create the medical record, when we get away from EMR and where we get away from typing all the time, and the doctor and the patient can engage in a natural way like we used to, and communicate in a way like we used to, and use video and digital video to be a part of the record. So the doctor is not engaging with EMR, but they're engaging with the patient again.
Yeah, medics.
I think that's part of it. And I think with wearable tech, I know, John, you posted a number of conversations around Google Glass. I think it's coming. And I think the question is where are those videos going to be stored, who's going to host that platform, and who's going to be out there to be able to securely share that information with patients in a way that's meaningful.
Well, I hope to engage our medics so they can answer those questions, because I'm sure they're working to resolve those issues. But then we'll have a real RX when you have the live discharge instructions.
Yeah.
Besides the Real DX, you'll have the realrx.com.
There you go.
Well, any more questions, gentlemen? Tom, can you hear me okay?
I can just barely hear. I apologize. My audio for some
That's okay.
reason.
Tom, you have any questions for Carlo?
No, I do not.
Okay. I don't know for the translation, but yeah. So, Carlo, you're translating it now into Spanish.
I try to every video I make to also make it in Spanish. So on the website you can do the flag and search them by language. Not all of them are in, because a lot of the videos that are within EDExitVideo, actually other people have loaded them up. All I'm doing is linking them to the site. So I found orthopedic doctors out of UCLA that have a library of 50 orthopedic things. I don't need to remake that content. I just put the link in. There's the company does 3D animation type explanation, Nucleus Media, and they put a big for sample use only on it, but the content's great. So I put the links to that, so I don't have to redo that content. I've had neurosurgeons who've done Arnold Chiari or shunt management stuff, so I put the links there because I do not have the expertise to do that. So eventually, obviously, I would like to replace it with my own content, with my ortho guys or my neurosurgeons and things like that, or other guys who want to contribute to the library, and then eventually hire people who translate it so that each video is in 5-6 languages. So this is not just United States, but Europe and South America. And with the internet, it's there. It's just usable.
Well, there's quite an inventory of Spanish videos on YouTube. Now, one quick question, Carlos. When you customize your email to the patient, is that where you say Spanish or English when it does a search for the videos?
When you search,
okay.
Yeah, when you do the search for the video, you select a flag that has got a little like a Spanish flag on it. So that the results would only be the Spanish video results.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, we look forward to seeing the further development of this, and hopefully the transition to all areas of medicine. That's a weak part of our system. We all know that, and I'm glad that you're doing your part, Carlo, to address it.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
We got to get you some developers and money.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Carlo, and thank all your other guys. I'm going to go off camera, and then we can chat. So, good night, world.